Hey guys, today's video we're going to be looking through DRS's TAP Annuity calculator. So we're answering a few different questions such as, how do I use this calculator? How much does $100,000 pay? If I'm 65 and I have $500,000, what could I get from this TAP Annuity? So let's dive into those different scenarios. So first off, you're going to do a Google search for TAP Annuity calculator. I'll also have the link down below in there. So when you get here, go ahead and put how much we want to put into it. I always like to start at the bottom. So we're doing this for $100,000. Let's go with October, for example, of this year. So in short, the longer you put off or the older you are when you buy this, the higher your rate's going to be. Now, they always want you to name your scenario. So we'll just say this is our $100,000 scenario. Put your name in here, enter your date of birth. All right, so this should make us 60. So in this example, let's say we are 60 years old, single, starting off with $100,000. Let's punch through. It wants you to pick your system. Let's just say we're a teacher and punch through. All right. So in this example, someone that turns 60 this year in 2025 would get about $484 for $100,000. Right. So that's actually 44 per 100,000. So if I were to go back and say, hey, 200,000, this would be double. You expect to get twice this amount here. You'll see that they have survivorship options on here because they didn't list the spouse. They didn't calculate these for me. They're going to be 0. So what happens to my money if I pass away and I didn't use it all? Whatever's left of the 100,000 goes to your beneficiary. So if I only draw 60,000 on this account and I pass away, the remaining 40,000 would go to the beneficiary that you list when you open this up. Now down here, you'll see the graph. It's not the cleanest or most detailed, but the whole point is with the 3% guaranteed cost of living adjustment, this is going to keep rising. So you see here, this is 484. By the time we turn 65, if we're getting over $500 per month, we hit 1,000 somewhere before our 85th birthday. We'll essentially double our payment within the next 25 years. All right, so that's how you use the calculator, and that's how much you get, per $100,000 under the current rates right now. Now let's go back here. Let's change it up a bit. Let's say that you were age 65 doing this. So I didn't change anything else other than the age. Now you see that it bumped up to 532. So the older you are, the higher the benefit's going to be. Now that I'm 65, by the time I hit 1,000, I'm going to be past age 85. So probably 86, 87 is when you're finally hitting that $1,000 figure. So you can see this is compounding interest. So the longer you have it, the longer you live, the higher it grows. All right, let's go back one more time. So how much would $500,000 purchase inside of a TAP annuity? So if you have $500,000 today, and let's say you're 65, you could expect to get about $2,600 per month. And that's for the rest of your life. You'll get that figure. That's on top of your Social Security, on top of your pension. And as you can see, it grows over time. So it would essentially double by the time you turn 86. You'd be getting over $5,000 per month. Now, these TAP annuities are very strong. They've got great payouts, but this is the key, is this 3% guaranteed COLA. If you ever shop the private markets, you're going to have a really tough time beating this. And we've had a lot of people try to beat it. I've had a lot of annuity experts try to beat it. Nobody can. So if you're considering doing an annuity for income purposes, and you're eligible for TAP annuity, this one's a really great option to choose from. Now, this is all single filers, so let's go back and I'll show you what happens when you have a spouse on here. Now, the spousal benefit, it's going to depend on your age gap. So let's just say your spouse is same age as you. So if the spouse is the same age, you see 264 was our current benefit. That didn't change, right? What changed was they gave us these other options. So I can take a reduction to pass it on to my spouse. So the more I want to pass on, if I want to pass on the entire benefit, the bigger reduction I'm going to take. Instead of getting $2,664, I get $2,336. So I'm losing about $330 here per month, just so if my spouse passes away, she would continue to get this payment. Now, a lot of people misread this. They look at this and like, I don't want to take that big of a reduction. I'll go with this one, this middle of the road option. A less reduction than this, it's only a little bit more reduction than this, so we'll go with this. But they don't ever do the math and to understand that while you might be getting $24.37 per month while you're living, should you pass away, only 2/3 of the benefit sticks, right? So if you had a calculator up here and you had $24.37 and they only got 67% of it, they'd only be getting about $1,630, per month. Keep in mind that when you pass away, your Social Security goes with you. So now you have a spouse that's going from married filing jointly into the single filer, which is higher tax brackets. Only one Social Security benefit sticks, and now they're getting less income from here. So if your spouse is okay and can survive on that, great. But if it is a substantial part of your income where you want to provide that extra benefit to make sure that you're leaving them with enough financial stability and income, it's there for them to help pay for any kind of inflation needs, even for like long-term care facilities. Adding these type of guaranteed income streams are a really good option. Most of my clients, I usually recommend this 100% survivorship option because the deduction you take can easily be made up. Should someone pass away, if the spouse usually outlives by about 2.5 years, more likely you're getting your money back. I have a different calculator I can show you guys later that actually shows you the break even, how long you have to outlive your spouse for it to make sense. But oftentimes it's just a couple of years. This is what it looks like if you are of the same age. All right, so we got 2,336. Right, so it's about $300 less between the two options when we're the same age. Now, if we go back, let's say our spouse is younger than us. You see how it went down, right? It was 2,300, now it's 2,180. So the younger our spouse is, or the bigger of an age gap we have on them, it's going to cost us more to keep them on. The reason being is now the state, should they outlive you, which, we usually, our younger spouses outlive us, they're going to collect that benefit for longer. Therefore, they're going to pay out less, to you. So the younger you put someone on, the lower the benefit you'll get in a survivor. Keep in mind that option one does not pay out to pay an income stream to your beneficiary. If they're listed beneficiary, they'll still get the remaining amount, but they're not going to get the income stream. So let's say you chose option one, you got this 2664, you spent, let's call it $300,000. There's $200,000 left. You passed away, your spouse would get the remaining $200,000 in there, and that money could, theoretically be used however she wanted to invest into her own IRA. She could go and buy a different annuity with it, but she cannot get an income stream from the TAP annuity. So she's going to try to purchase a private annuity with that $200,000 at an older age. She could do that. She might have a better rate. So your spouse could then go ahead and shop for the $200,000. Now, if they're older, they may get better initial rates on them, but they're going to miss out on this 3% cost of living adjustment, or they have to purchase it. And when I say purchase it, you don't physically buy it. They just give you a lower rate. So if you say, let's say you're 75, you're shopping for a private annuity with $200,000, they'll say, great, we'll pay you 6% with no cost of living adjustment, or we'll pay you 5% and give you that 3% cost of living adjustment. So they pay you less in an income stream form, and it's going to slowly creep up. It's going to take 10, 12 years for it to make back up to what you could have got initially. So that's why you have to purchase it, and it's not an actual physical charge. They just give you a smaller payout rate, and it takes a while to get your money back. So TAP annuity is a strong one to be in. If you think they're going to need income, just do the work up front and put them on as a survivorship option. Now, you're not limited to just listing your spouse here. You can list anyone you want. Let's say you wanted to list a grandbaby, for example. So if you had a grandkid that was born, let's say a few years back, let's say they're 10 years old, in 2015, you could do that, but you can see, all right, maybe that's too young, or at least it's too young for the calculator, because I've had people do this before. Let's say they'll take 2,000. All right. So if you've got someone 25 years old, it drops it down to 1,800. Let's just see how far we can push this thing. Can we go 2010? No. So it's somewhere between 15, 25. I wonder if the calculator's going off adulthood. All right. Let's see if someone turning 22 would work. Not quite. Interesting. So according to the calculator, it really depends on, I know this is not working at all. So 2010 showing nothing. So according to this, you have to be at least 25. I don't believe that to be really the case. It might just be a software programming thing. If you called the state and said, hey, I wanted to list your grandkid, I'm sure they could do it. It's just their software, this calculator isn't going to show it. But I've had people do it before where they have listed a grandkid under 25. So the calculator says it's giving you 0. This is just an error. There's no age restriction when listing beneficiaries or survivorships on them. You would just get a lot less. It may not make a lot of sense, although I had someone who was terminally ill once, 70, still working, go on there, get the TAP annuity, put their grandbaby down, and they passed away a few months later because they're terminally ill. But then now the grandkid is getting monthly income stream from DRS, from this TAP annuity here, and they'll continue getting that plus 3% growth for the rest of their life. So you can list people other than your spouse, but the age debt gap will make the big difference of how much you'll be getting. All right, so go ahead and play with this thing so you can see just kind of your figures out here. Feel free to shop around if you want to. Tell people to try to beat this. They're going to have a real hard time doing it. If you have any comments or questions, leave them below this video, and I'll catch you guys next week. And remember that your future depends on what you do today.